Okay, this is a Crossley 1040. It's a UK engine and it's in real good shape. The unfortunate thing is somebody's painted it black, and of course its proper colour is sort of olive green, and you can see that colour on the gasoline fuel lid and underneath the rear of the engine where they didn't paint it black. However, it's been like this for years, I expect, and this is a super engine. I'm going to walk around and hopefully not make this video too wobbly and show you a few things on it. There we go. When I get these from the UK, these engines, what I tend to do is put oil in them and water, fuel of course, check for spark, and then fire them up, see what needs to be done on it. Well, this particular engine, we put oil in it and filled it just like we would a Lister up to the neck, and of course that was way too much oil, we found out afterwards, and there is an oil marker inside the oil filling lid which shows you the height of the oil that needs to be in there. When we put water in it, we found the drain cock which is here was seized and leaking, so we worked on that and fixed that so that we could put water in it to run test it. While we were doing that, we took the exhaust off because it was in the way, and whilst it was off we just cleaned it and painted it. It was rusty and looked like the engine hadn't run for a long time. Well, once we'd fired the engine up and had it running for a good time, we put kerosene in the kerosene tank. Alright, here is the gasoline tank. You put gasoline in there, fill her up, shut the lid, and you put kerosene in the tank, which is here, and you fill her up. You then put gasoline in this little cap here, just that amount, just fill it up, and then open the valve on the inward stroke and then close the valve, and then wind the handle, which is right there, and it will start, no question. You then adjust this needle valve here, which is for gasoline, and you adjust that till the engine is running fairly decently. You have to wait for a period of time for this engine to heat up before you can start to switch it over to kerosene. It really needs to be warm for it to switch over without blogging up and backfiring and doing all kinds of weird things. So what you do is you wait till the water is steaming, then you start to open the kerosene needle valve. As you're opening the kerosene needle valve, you'll notice a change in the engine, the way it's running. You then start to screw back in the gasoline needle valve, and you do this to a process, and what I've done is marked where the kerosene running line is, by a couple of notches on the top, so you know how far to turn it. Once you get to that distance, you can shut the gasoline off completely and she'll continue to run on kerosene. I was quite amazed once we gotten this engine running that we didn't get a lot of smoke or kerosene smells or anything. It just popped away and continued to run on kerosene. I'm not sure if you can run these permanently on gasoline, but it's designed to run on kerosene, so that's what I've gotten it running on. Excuse me. Now, I haven't done anything to this engine apart from get it running, and to do that I had to fit a new plug connector right here. That was broken, and it does have a couple of little problems. First off, during its running, we're getting a little movement in this here, and this of course is the governor adjustment. It's got governor weights at the back of the engine which spin out, and therefore when they spin they adjust the movement on this rod here, and you set the speed of the engine by this screw right here, and then you adjust your engine speed on that. It's rated at 650 RPMs, but it will do a lot more than that. I'm not so sure whether it should have another spring right here to keep the butterfly in its open position. Right now it's wide open, it's straight up, but this rod can go either way. It can go forwards, which will shut the throttle off, shut the gas off, or kerosene, and the same in the other direction. But of course once she's started and running, the weights start to open and they pull this rod just like that and open or close the butterfly, I should say, to the adjustment that you've set here on that spring. She's running, she runs fine, runs great. As I said, it does have a couple of minor problems. This is one of them. It's a little messy and needs tidying up. I believe it should be stripped of black paint and totally repainted, and it's more of an olive green, as you can see right here on the cap. There's a bit of an olive green right there, and I think it should be that color. The balance flywheels have been painted green and have an arrow on them, as you can see, showing its direction of turning. And even these, this is the wrong color. It's not olivey enough, it's too green. So you know, the whole thing really needs to be stripped of paint and repainted if you so desire. It's on an original cart, as you can see. What else can we say about it? Oh yes, during the running, what we found was that the exhaust spring right here, it's a little rusty and it's a little weak. It's really weak, and we're getting a little puff of smoke now and then from around this area. So I'm assuming from that that the valve guide is worn. And of course it's the age of the engine, and it probably needs a little bit of work on that valve guide, or possibly the valve itself. Also there's a little play in the pin that runs through this here, as it's running backwards and forwards right here, doing its thing just like my hand is showing you. There's a little movement right here which shows there's a wear on the pin right here, but that has not detracted from it starting and running and doing everything it needs to do. On the rear of the engine, it has the balance weights, and hopefully this won't mess up too much. The balance weights are way down here. I hope you can see them right there. They throw out as the engine runs and adjust the throttle. It's a throttle governed engine, and that is done by a lever on the base of the sump here. The lever comes out and controls that rod. And up here you have the valve pusher, which is running on the cam. The cam pushes this and opens and closes as necessary on the engine. Here is the oil filler, as I mentioned at the beginning, that I filled right up to the top and is way too much. Inside this bowl there's a little bolt that's fitted from the base of the unit, and that indicates when you get the oil up to the top, near the top of the bolt or marker, that's where it needs to be. You don't need to fill this all the way up like I did it. It has a Lucas mag on it, as you can see right here. Very simple mag, working well, no problems with it at all. Everything is in real good shape, and the whole engine runs really well for its age. This would be a really good engine for someone that wanted it to restore, repaint it, and I would put steerable units on the front wheels here, because there's no steering. It's just they're just bolted to the main frame. But then again, when they put these engines in place, that's where they left them and ran them. It's an excellent engine, as I said, and she's ready to run as it is now. So really a good engine for someone to buy and do a little work on. And I think that's about it. Hopefully I'm going to try and start her up and show you it running in the next video. Thanks for looking at this engine.